Hey there, this is Perch, and this is a small one. This feels like a topic that is scraping the bottom of the barrel of topics, and it kind of like overship. This one is I why am I doing this? Is what I'm asking myself, and it's some man. I intro it like this. Somebody asked for this. Somebody wanted this topic, and now I just insulted them. So I'm sorry. I just realized what a complete a hole I sound like. Um, okay, so let me just start over. I could just edit this stuff out, but I've been using the approach I've been using here is very similar to what I do on Twitter, which is I'm going to talk. If I say something dumb, it's coming through, and you can laugh at me by all means. Go for it. Um, what is a pull box? So the short answer to this is go to your local comic shop and reserve comics. Basically, say, I don't want to try and make it in here. Wednesday is your unboxing comics, and good news, your retailer doesn't want you there either for that. And I'm going to put a hold on a number of comics that I know I'm going to get, and that's going to allow me to come in Thursday or Friday or Sunday or next week and be able to not worry that the comics sold out or that I missed something because some stupid publisher, Marvel, has relaunched the title 20 times under a different name and I missed it because it was alphabetically in some other place or whatever. A pull box is a reservation system. And pull boxes work a lot of different ways. Every store kind of has their own way of doing the pull box. Typically, this is around money. Do you need to pay up front? Do you have to leave a credit card on file? What happens if you don't pick your comics up for 2 months? These kinds of variables. And comic store owners and retailers are always tweaking this model to try and get it just right. And it's a tough model because if, for example, you are a subscriber to a bunch of really hot comics, and then you decide one day to go to a different comic shop and you don't show up, or maybe you subscribe to a bunch of very expensive graphic novels or things that are more unique and you don't come to pick up your comics. You don't, and so the store is now left with a ton of very tough things to sell, very expensive things. They bought it. They bought it for you. They're reserving it and holding it for you, and then you don't show up. So that's why some people have asked me, why do comic shops insist on having a credit card on file or policies of you have to come in within 2 months to pick up your stuff. Well, it's because you're sticking them with a bunch of inventory, and unfortunately, people aren't always the most communicative. I have customers who will vanish for 2 to 3 months at a time, and they'll tell me, "Hey, I'm traveling," or "I am this or that is happening. I'm not going to be in for a while. Here's my card. I don't want you to, have to put this bill for a year while you're waiting for me to show back up, wondering if I'm going to show back up." So that's just that. Every comic shop has a different model, a slightly different model. We all try and learn from each other. We try and kind of come to basically just try and understand, is there a better way to do this? Is there a system that's going to make it easier for everybody? Most comic shops, particularly comic shops that want to stay in business, they're not going to have policies that are really offensive. They're not going to do things that are anti-customer. They want customers. They're just trying to make sure that the customers don't vanish in the middle of the night and now they have a big bill sitting over them. So they're trying to figure that out. They're trying to make it convenient for you. And that's really what pull boxes are. They're convenience. It's a way to just have a subscription sitting there. It's a way to make it easier for you as a consumer to buy things. It's a way for the store to better predict what is going to sell. So they look over their pull box customers, and that's really informative to what's selling and what stock they can move out. And so it's a win-win for everybody. When done right, it's a win-win. And pull boxes are especially great for remote customers, where or people in the military. I think this is one of the areas that is an unsold hero of comic shops that a lot of people ignore. Is people in the military who like comics will read comics, and it's a very healthy audience for comics. Being able to set up a system where they can reserve and have a bunch of comics pile up, and then once a month or whatever the frequency is, then the comics get sent, and they're able to keep that hobby, keep things going. There was a program that I saw one shop do that I thought was really clever, and I stole it, where they sent comics to the folks in the military along with a kind of return labels and box. So basically, the folks in the military could receive their comics, read them, put them back in a box, and mail them back, and then be stored and held there in a back in the back, so that they didn't have these this storage of comics hanging around. I thought that was pretty clever. But that's what pull boxes are. This is not a long video. It's a reservation system. Um, and they're the tough part about pull boxes right now, at least, is that the dumb publishers keep relaunching and changing things around, and so it gets very tough if you are a comic shop owner and you have a customer who gets Uncanny X-Men. Do you automatically pull Age of X for them? Do half your customers will want that, half the customers will not. How do you know which or which? How do you keep on top of that? So this is where kind of email and order forms come in handy. It's where a lot of shops will go ahead and put stuff in boxes. One of the things that I think is a really nice feature, but you have to be really careful with it, is putting a comic in a box that you think your customer will like. So in theory, you're doing them a favor, but you have to bag it, board it, wrap it. You have to make it extremely clear, ethically, I think, to the customer that this is not something you ordered. This is something I think you want. So if you want to return it, if you want to put it back on the shelf, no problem. Don't want the customer accidentally buying it because they're in a hurry either. There needs to be some separation. So that's playing with a bit of fire. I think it's certainly helpful, but you have to be Johnny on the spot, knowing what you're doing, and you got to make sure all the employees also know what they're doing, because the worst thing in the world, the two worst aspects I've seen of pull boxes are, one, where the shop owner tries to stick things that are expensive that they're not selling into pull box customers in the hopes that they'll just not notice and buy it anyway. A lot of shady guys do that. The other one is the pull box customer orders things unexpectedly. It's like, hey, Batman shows his junk in Damned, and now suddenly you've got some people in kind of wanting the comic, and you could sell it for 3x cover. So let's just go ahead and pilfer the pull box, and then Diamond shorted me, those bastards. I've seen that happen a lot too, and that's equally lousy behavior. So that's the dark side of retailers for sure. Thankfully, very very rare. Anyway, that's what a pull box is. Hope that helps. If you didn't know what one was, sorry to the questioner. Didn't mean to insult you. Subscribe. Please don't unsubscribe because I was a jerk. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Hit the bell for notifications. Follow me on social media: comics, Twitter, Comic Perch. I'm there. Would love to get your suggestions. I promise I'll treat them nicely. All right. Thanks for listening.